everybody. We are coming to you live from Epcot during the Epcot International Flower and Garden Festival. If you had joined us last week, then you know exactly what we're doing. But if you didn't join us last week, we are continuing our walk around of the different topiaries here at this year's Epcot International Flower and Garden Festival. Last week we started off at the entrance of World Showcase. We made our way up to Italy. So today we're going to continue from where we left off. We're going to be here, the next pavilion over, at the American Adventure, and making our way up to Canada. So our first one here is going to be Tiana from The Princess and the Frog, 2009 hit film. Amazing film, amazing topiary. This one just debuted, I think it was 2 years ago, don't quote me on that. But it is one of my favorite topiaries that they've added in recent years. Just the details of her is incredible. It's also very windy today, so if all of a sudden the video is like muffled, I apologize in advance. But we're going to continue going around, obviously starting here with Tiana. We're going to make our way to Canada and be making all the stops along the way. Along the way, we've got quite a few topiaries, especially when we get over to the UK pavilion. But every single pavilion has at least one, with the exception of Morocco. But Morocco does have kind of an honorary topiary next to it, which we'll get to when we get there. But before we get there, we have to make our way over to Japan and just try to cut across. So if you've been to the festival any over the last few years, then you probably know about the dragon. How do you say the word? My Wisconsin accent always takes off with the D-R-A-G-U-N. Dragon? Did I even say dragon? The dragon. But the dragon used to hang out over here near the gate at the entrance of the pavilion. It debuted over here about 5 years ago, I want to say, maybe 6 years ago. Been over here for a while. This year, though, they did get rid of it from its former location. So we no longer have it over here, but it's made its way to a new spot in the pavilion. And actually, I personally like the spot where it's at a whole lot more than where it used to be. Because as much as it was really cool to see it there, I think it's just so much more impressive when you go right up next to it. Because it just makes it, like, you can just see the massive size of it. When it's a little further away, you couldn't really see the size. But now it's over here near the pavilion itself. Yes, so fiery indeed. Look at how massive that is. I just really like actually being able to stand right underneath that. Because when it was up there with the idea of like forced perspective, it looked big, but I didn't think it was going to be bigger than me until you actually get right next to it and it's like, holy cow, this thing's amazing. Okay, we're going to continue our way down towards the Morocco Pavilion. Now, the Morocco Pavilion has had topiaries themed to the pavilion in the past. That all changed when they added Spice Road Table. Now, prior to Spice Road Table, they used to have it so there was going to be a little, there was like a little waterway that was over there. And in that little waterway, there was an Aladdin topiary on top of the magic carpet. And when they got rid of that, area, they decided that maybe we're not going to have any topiaries here anymore. And then in 2011, something happened that took the world by storm. The movie The Muppets. So when the Muppets came out the following year in 2012, we got two new topiaries, not here, but over at the entrance of World Showcase, in the form of Kermit and Miss Piggy. Kermit and Miss Piggy then would make their way up towards the Germany Pavilion during the movie Muppets Most Wanted, which came out in 2014. And then the following year, they made their way over by the Japan Pavilion, and then slowly but surely, they would eventually make their way over here between the Morocco Pavilion and the France Pavilion.
I'm going to take it slower after.
They do have a spice garden here. Not topiaries, but a lot of different spices are used in Moroccan cooking.
And your mom. And your sister.
Wow, she spent the whole family. Takes so many years.
But over here we do have Kermit and Miss Piggy. I don't know if you guys remember, so in 2014, they had it so when Muppets Most Wanted came out in theaters, it was during the Flower Garden Festival, and they actually had a Muppets Most Wanted game that you could play around the entire festival while looking for these two as well.
Yes.
But there was different clues around the entire park trying to help Kermit and Miss Piggy capture Constantine, the doppelganger of Kermit the Frog. It was like a great little game. I mean, it was like, you know, they gave you like a sheet of paper. You just had to go through the entire, you know, World Showcase / Future World, trying to find a few different things. And then after you got all that done, you would go through and they would give you a little sticker for the movie. They would also give you a little certificate of completion. I still have mine. I still have everything that I get for free in the parks. They're nice little mementos. You just never know when they're going to come back. Or if they're never going to come back.
No, it's not my fault.
Oh wait, the France Pavilion is going to be our next one. France Pavilion has had so many different topiaries throughout the years. Mainly due to the fact that there have been so many different movies based around the France literature. So originally, when you used to walk into the pavilion, on the bridge we're going to be walking across in just a few minutes, they used to have a topiary of Cinderella and Prince Charming on one side, and Aurora and Prince Philip on the other. And they were very bland, very boring. And then around the time when they came out with the live-action version of Beauty and the Beast, they decided to help promote the film by adding in these topiaries of Beauty and the Beast, obviously from the animated version.
Yep.
Hey, Christine. So here we've got Beast and we've got Belle from the 1991 Disney animated classic, Beauty and the Beast. But in addition to these two right here, we also have Cogsworth and Lumiere over here. At one point, we did have a Chip and Mrs. Potts as well, but they unfortunately have fallen by the wayside throughout the years. Hey, Sebastian. I do like how Cogsworth, the pendulum, is that what it's called? Goes back and forth there. I think that's pretty cool. And then Lumiere does light up at night as well, where he has in the past. I haven't seen him at night yet this festival. Alright, let's make our way over to our next pavilion, which is going to be the pavilion with the most topiaries. That's going to be the UK pavilion.
What's the line like?
Ice cream time. Oh man, the peanut butter and jelly ice cream that they have at the festival is really good. I've not had it yet this year. I did not try it until the end of the festival last year, and I regretted not trying it earlier. And I ended up having it like 4 times in the last 2 weeks. So side. So when you're going across the bridge into the France Pavilion, they would be there waiting for you. Alright, we're gonna now make our way up to the UK Pavilion. Like I said, the UK Pavilion, it does have the most topiaries at a festival. Because just like France, there's been a lot of different Disney movies that have been influenced by stories and literature from the UK. But in addition to those characters, we do have a nice little area in the UK Pavilion which allows us to honor the past of topiaries. So back in the day, 30 years ago, when the festival first started off, as you can see here on the posters, it is 30 years and growing of the festival. Back in the day, though, the topiaries used to be just bland. They didn't really have any facial structures. It was just kind of the shape of the characters. You would kind of know who it was, but if it was someone like the Sleeping Beauty one or Cinderella one, they were both kind of the same shape. And the only reason that you knew it was Cinderella or Sleeping Beauty was just the fact that one of them had some pink in the flowers to help you know that it was Sleeping Beauty. The other one had some blue to let you know that it was Cinderella. But besides that, they kind of had the same faces, and it was very, very boring. First, we're going to stop by Tinkerbell, and we're going to go take a look at those cool topiaries. If not every one of their mother was in front of this topiary. Alright, so there we have Tinkerbell with all the different little houses here too. We're going to go to no, we're going to go this way. They're doing a tea tour right now. So during the festival, you can come over to UK Pavilion and get a tea tour as well. There is one where you join a person. There's another one that is self-guided. I have zero interest in tea, so I have never even remotely thought about going to do the tea tour, but maybe I should sometime. One of my friends is a huge tea fan, and they told me that it's a great tour, so maybe, I don't know. I just don't like tea. I don't like hot drinks. Or iced tea. Okay, so over here we have a Mickey Mouse in topiary form. This is how the original Mickey Mouse topiaries did look. And not just look, this is one of the original topiaries for Mickey Mouse. So you can see nothing really there besides just the shape of the topiary. The gardens would actually go through, or the plants would actually grow around it. Same thing over here with the elephant. We can tell that it's an elephant, but there's no real story. There's nothing really giving us any detail besides just a bunch of shrubbery growing around the wires. And there's some people over there right now sitting down on the wires, but there's actually a wire outline of a swan over there. So if you're over here at all during the festival, make sure you go check that out too. But almost every time I've been here though, there's been someone who's like leaning on it or sitting on it. So in addition to those ones there, we do have a few more characters that we're going to find up here. Another 5 characters, 7, 8 characters that we can find in the UK Pavilion. First 5 are going to be Winnie the Pooh characters. Starting us off here, we got Winnie the Pooh himself. Next to Winnie the Pooh, we've got Rabbit. These two are both similar to how it used to be. Our third, fourth, and fifth ones and the UK Pavilion are going to be Tigger. And then we also have Eeyore and Piglet here as well. In addition to these five, and the Mickey, and the Dumbo, and the Tinkerbell, we do have 3 more characters that can be found here. They're going to be on the walkway between the UK Pavilion and the Canada Pavilion. And these next 3 actually used to be found where these ones were, and then those ones used to be found where the ones that we're going to are. I actually liked it a lot better when these ones were over there and those ones were over here. Mainly due to the fact that Winnie the Pooh, yes, is a UK story, but Winnie is actually named after Winnipeg, Canada. And also, our next characters here are the Peter Pan characters. We're going to have Tick-Tock, Croc, Captain Hook, and Peter Pan. Over here we have Tick-Tock, Croc. And then we have Captain Hook and Peter Pan. And so how this used to be set up over on the other spot was Peter Pan was actually on top of this building up here. And then Captain Hook was below him and kind of tilted up, looking at Peter Pan on the roof. And then behind Captain Hook was Tick-Tock, Croc. So it was like a really cool little setup that they used to have. And I really like that setup more than this. I mean, I still think this is good. I just really like the idea of having Peter Pan up on a roof, giving him the illusion of flight. Okay, we've got 2 more stops left here today. Both of them are going to be associated with the Canada Pavilion. Our first one's going to be up by Les Saliers and Canada Far and Wide. So our first one's going to be one that was just added, I think it was last year, 2 years ago. Don't quote me on this. I think it was 2 years ago. But they also added in a detail this year to this that I really, really enjoyed. We just need to get over here and fight through the crowd.
Right.
Alright, so up here in the plants are slow walkers. Alright, so these were recently added like 2 or 3 years ago. These are going to be the Canadian geese. Very famous Canadian friend. No Canadian moose though, unfortunately, but maybe sometime in the future. What they did add this year though is the Canadian flag in the background, which I really like. I think this is like a really nice little added touch to the pavilion here. But in addition to the Canadian geese and the Canadian flag there, we're going to have our last topiaries of our walk around. And these ones didn't actually originally start in Canada. In fact, this movie is one of those movies that doesn't really have a solid location of where it is. They just say it's North America. So it could be Canada, it could be the US, but we're not really sure. But both these creatures are very common in both of those locations. That's going to be the movie Bambi. But the Bambi characters actually originally started over at the Butterfly Garden, because if you remember, there was a butterfly that Bambi interacted with in the film. So it just kind of made sense to have the Butterfly Garden featuring the Bambi characters. Right there we got Bambi. And then we also have Thumper and Flower there as well. Well, we're going to be wrapping up our broadcast right here. Thank you everyone for joining us once again today. Next week, we may do the front of the park topiaries. I'm not positive yet. Or maybe we'll do the butterfly garden. I'm not sure. I'm not even sure if we'll be at Epcot, but we'll be back at Disney next week for sure. So make sure you join us next Saturday. If you're not already subscribed to this channel, make sure you subscribe. We will see you once again tomorrow for our daily videos. Until then, oh yeah.